Well, look at that. We've gone live for a change. So this is us that we put out earlier. So anyway, I'm actually using YouTube stream for a change. I usually use a different format. So this is kind of new for me. So hopefully everybody's hearing this okay. So on the 1 month challenge, we for prepping, we asked folks to try their best to not go to the store and try to survive the 1 month based on how well their pantry was. Now we're really lighthearted about this, which we know people have kids and things like that. So we wanted to make sure that, hey, if you need to go buy milk and things like that, go ahead, but kind of keep track of what you had to buy, but try your best not to go to the grocery store. And so, but this wasn't supposed to be painful. So Sherry and I did that too. And yes, we had to go to the store and yes, we had to do things. And some of the lighter things we found about the 1 month challenge was what we wanted to do is try to find out if um, we could find the weaknesses in, sorry about the senior moment, find the weaknesses in our prepping. And so we did find some, and we're not done yet. The month isn't quite over, and we haven't done any update videos because we found like the first week and a half, 2 weeks, we were fine based on what was already in our refrigerator and things like that. So, but what we did discover is definitely milk, things like that. We definitely had to replenish. But some of the other things that kind of caught us off guard was just dumb little things. Let's assume that we just can't go to the store, but you still have electricity. I didn't prepare for my Traeger. That was one thing. I had a half a bag of pellets. I cook a lot with the Traeger and found out I ran out, and it's like, oh, I would have had to gone to the store to buy that. I also realized that my fuel bank of fuel for generators and things like that, if I would had to use them, I didn't have enough um, fuel on hand. So we found that to be kind of. So say what you will, radio. Believe it or not, this is my first stream I've done on YouTube. I've done tons of streams before, but I've never used this new format of YouTube. So I'm getting like squirreled a lot here. So bear with me. So with the 1 month prep challenge, we wanted people to kind of have an opportunity to find their weak points. During the 1 month thing, we actually had internet problems, and we learned something about our internet, what was a problem. We have corrected that problem. But all in all, when you just do a 1 month prep challenge, you won't be impacted too badly. Of course, this will be different if you have kids or something like that. Um, and hello, Jaron, how are you? And say what you will, radio. Good to see you guys. Um, anyway, squirrel. So we were finding a couple of weak points in our prepping, just a little thing, and that's what we wanted people to do, is see if you could find the weak points. My wife actually pointed out a few things too, but she's not here. She's mowing lawns, and but I'm just curious about how hard it is to run the streaming program here. Normally, we use what's called XSplit, and we do our live feeds from there. And I just happened to be on YouTube, saw a little button say go live. And I'm like, all right, let's try that. And I won't use XSplit. So anyway, so we, I find if you guys can try to test your prepping just to see, and when I'm saying prepping, I'm not talking about like end of the world type of stuff. But if we had to go a couple of weeks without power or something going on, and maybe during the elections or riots get bad or something like that, and we all have to kind of stay home and want to stay away from the public, how well would you make out? And so I always urge people for goodness sakes, try to have, a couple of weeks worth of stuff at your house, like water and stuff like that, and extra food in case you just can't go to the store for a while because of turmoil. Or maybe you had a power outage, and maybe you had a hurricane or tornadoes go through. And so, uh, anyway, it was really important, for me at least, to test the system a little bit. I asked nobody to go into their preps. So if you, let's say you ran out of maple syrup, instead of using your prep maple syrup, go ahead and buy it. Just keep track of where you went, where your weaknesses were. And I urge anybody who's doing prepping or just being more prepared or self-sufficient to go right ahead and um, do this test. We are going to do an update video, Sherry and I, here in the next day or two. We just got so many things going on, about what we discovered in our 1 month prep challenge. But I thought maybe I'd just do a little bit of a yak here. And I be would, if I see anything in the comments that were kind of unique to the 1 month prep challenge, I try to address that. So also the other thing we're trying to do on the channel is with the RangerRob Country Living is showing people a way to, well, what we're discovering. My head's going to explode with things in my head. What we're discovering is a lot of people are trying to bail out of the city, and they are starting to get the idea of being more self-sufficient. Unfortunately, because of urgency, and I kind of understand why, because like the housing market right now is really looking good in certain places. Like if you're in Arizona and you had a house for sale, like I did, we got top dollar for a house and it sold before it even went as a listing. So houses are moving. And if you wanted to go from Phoenix to Idaho or like we did, Central Oregon, to get some more elbow room and property and things like that, this is definitely the time to do it, because 6 months from now, that could change. And I think it will. So there's a lot of people diving into getting away from the city and going out to rural areas and maybe even going farther. And so we want to talk and show people on this channel. It's a lot of work. If you watch the RangerRob Country Living channel and you look at the daily videos we're doing, we're trying to show you that it's a lot of work. It can be kind of fun work, and it can be rewarding. However, it's intense. And luckily, Sherry and I are both home right now. And for example, for me to do this, she's out mowing lawns, which takes 3 hours on our property. At the same time, we got gardens, things we had to prepare before the winter, so we can have a good spring garden. And we have so many more buildings we have to build. We need to build a high tower for our tomatoes. We have to build a greenhouse between now and I have a dog here harassing me, to have ready probably by January or February, so we can start getting it set up. This is Belle. And she's wondering, why are you talking to the computer? Anyway, so I'm hoping that when people watch our daily videos, that they get the idea of what it would be like if you actually did go out to the rural or out to the country, and realize that it sounds romantic in a way, but it's a lot of work. And I think your age factor is a big thing. So if you're younger, maybe 30s, 40s, 50s, you can do a lot of things. As you get older, like me, kind of sort of, then you find yourself that, I want to buy a place that's out in the country, but I want to be on the grid. I don't want to build a cabin. I don't want to build a small house. I don't want to build a barn. I want those things built already. And then I ask people to start living the what if scenario. What if my power went out? What if I had to generate my own power? What if I couldn't get water from the city? Now, in my case, I have a well, so I addressed that issue in one of our videos, and literally put in a generator system to actually run our well, so we could literally have water in the house and water our gardening and stuff. We have a very extensive watering system here, and now I just plug in a generator, push go, and all my automatic systems still work, and my house has water. I have other things to address. Um, Heating. What am I going to do about heating here? We have a heat pump system, so that's great. But when winter comes and we lose our power, I do not really have an alternative heating system. So we're looking at stoves. And so, do I get a wood burning stove or do I get a pellet stove? Now, I know pellet stoves require electricity, but not heavy duty electricity. So, how would I address that? Well, I can put a solar system battery backup. Um, I could use a system as simple as what they use for backups for computers, where it's a big unit that goes under your table. It's actually a lithium battery in it, and the power goes out, your computer doesn't go down too, and it's got a battery backup in there. But those are only good for a couple hours. Um, and so you could literally plug a system like that into a pellet stove. Um, I don't know. Inverters, by the way, really draw power out of a battery, something fierce. So anyway, so those are the things that came up. So during a 1 month challenge, we were hoping everybody would just take a chance to go a few weeks and test their preps and find out where your weak points are. And like I said, we'll do an overview video. You saw that we started a playlist, but our lives got really crazy. And actually, we saw no real change. What we had in the refrigerator and freezers already pretty much covered us for a good 2.5 weeks before we really start feeling the pain a little bit. And instead of going into our preps, we kind of kept track, and I don't have that stuff with me right now because I was just doing a test there, to see where our weak points are. And I urge people to do this and do little tests. If you're really brave, take that master switch on your circuit breaker, shut down all your power. Then ask yourselves how well you do. Now, I haven't been that brave yet, but I'd be curious to see if anybody do that. um, so has anybody ever tried that? So I realize I don't have a big following here in this particular stream, but I'm sure some people will see this afterwards in the comments. Tell me if you're actually into prepping or at least being prepared for maybe a few months. Have you ever thought about just trying over the weekend with the family, shut off that main circuit breaker and see how well you do? I haven't gotten quite that brave yet. One of the other alternatives we have, and a lot of people also have, is an RV. So we keep a fifth wheel on our property, and if it really got cold here, we literally have, we keep the tanks full. We have propane. We could literally live in our RV and have all the heating and cooking and comforts of home in our RV if we lost our power. But I can keep my water running here, and I can keep my freezers going because of my generator system. But heating is a problem. So I've got some problems here to still correct for being more long-term prepping. And so anyway, I'm curious if you would, in the comments below later after I finish this stream, tell me if you've ever done any extreme things like that at your place to see how well you've prepped up. I am going to do, and by the way, the reason I'm also doing this test is Sherry and I are going to start doing more Q&A in the future, maybe once or twice a month. And so I've got to find out what the best format is here. This is not bad, but we kind of like XSplit because of the special abilities it has for us to put things on the screen. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this time with us. Tomorrow's video, On the weekend is another radio show from Easy Street. It's kind of I don't know, kind of on the edge because it's actually the title of it is a message to millennials. And so and it's a half hour show we do in Good Talk Radio. And so my radio shows we try to launch over the weekends because we have our daily vlog going on with Ranger Rob Country Living. And oh, thanks, Jaron. I hope I'm saying your name right. Our videos are such a positivity. Yes, it is. And that's what we, even though there's a lot of crap going on, some of it's kind of funny. Some of it's like, are you kidding me? And others is like, instead of this depression stuff, being Twitter pated, all that kind of stuff, I choose to live positive and also proactive. And that's what we also try to do in this. Is like, I don't care what age you are. I'm pushing 60. I think everybody should. Speaking of crap going on, what about your poopy bags? Oh my. Yep, you have yes, I've spelled my name correctly, sir. Good. Yes, we have the RangerRob poopy bags, and yes, that is one of our products. And yes, it's a fun product, and we put a fun name on it, and the funny thing about the RangerRob poopy bags is my kids are like, when they first heard like, you're doing what, Dad? You're making dog waste bags and you're going to sell them. That's going to be part of your company. And it's like, yeah. So my daughter's funny. He goes, oh, I just tell all my friends that I'm going to inherit poopy bag business. It's like, yeah. Jaron, you're 20? Nice to meet you. So Jaron, I got to ask you, are you like in the city? Are you in a rural area? Have you thought about moving out to the country? Are you already out in the country? Is that enough questions for you? Oh, you're from Indiana. Sorry about that. I didn't read one up above it. So anyway, have you thought about getting away from all this craziness and getting out more rural, getting out all that kind of stuff? And by the way, John, I believe, John, what are you doing lately? I know you're in Phoenix, and I heard it's still pretty warm down there. So yeah. If I would have known I was going to do a stream, I would have had my RangerRob poopy bag cup. Oh my goodness. So I'm looking out the window. My wife's mowing the lawn. It's like, and I'm just playing on the computer. It's 100 today. Oh my gosh. Actually, I talked to my daughter yesterday. She's like, it's still hitting the hundreds. It should be lower than that. Let's see, you're almost in October, and Phoenix is normally like 85, 90 normally that time. Because the only reason I remember that is we also we used to do a winter garden there. And so the other thing is like, guys, wherever you're at, are you thinking about growing more food? And I'm kind of contemplating, by the way, I was just, I'm really going hog wild on my garden next year. And it's your birthday tomorrow. Right on. So anyway, so we're really going crazy with our garden. And you've seen videos, if you watch our videos, that we're preparing the spring garden. And you say, well, spring garden, it's winter. Well, our dirt is kind of a sandy dirt here. And wow. Jaron, I just read your notes. Thank you. And so I had to do additives to it and churn it up, the whole works. And so now we're putting a big tarp over it for the winter to make sure we kill off all weeds and stuff like that. And then we're going to go hog wild on that. But one of the other things I'm contemplating is actually maybe I should raise meat birds. Now you guys saw us build a new chicken house and chicken coop. And we will be getting probably 8 to 10 eggs a day. They'll start coming towards the winter, but winter chickens don't lay very quickly, but it'll pick up and we'll be just inundated with eggs here. But meat birds, if you watch a guy called Justin Rhodes, He's amazing. He's really he's got property. He's kind of showing how to self-sustain your property, how to keep your soil well by integrating your animals to your grounds and doing a natural process. One of the things he does is he calls them uh, his meat birds. He's got a funny name for them. Sea serpents or something. I don't remember what he calls them. Anyway, but there's these chickens that you grow. They only take about 2 to 3 months to grow to full size. So if you buy 100 of them, he was saying that with about 100 birds, after they did the process of cleaning all that stuff, and I've done all that stuff before, they came out with over 400, almost 500 pounds of meat in their freezers. Now, where do you get that kind of um, meat, that much produce, not produce, uh, supplies for your freezer? Like if you buy a cow, it takes months to get them up to the size, and the cost and the room they need to have quality diets, compared to meat chickens that take only 2 to 3 months to get the full size, butcher and put them in your freezer, and hopefully you have the freezer space. And that guy, oh my gosh, he's got like 10 freezers. Um, oh my gosh, what a wonderful way to build up your meat supply and doing it costly. And that's amazing. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. And I really did not think this stream was going to go this long. So anyway, I apologize. So guys, I want to wrap it up there. This was just kind of a test. Yes, I'm still living out of the living room. Our studio is in the works. Fish farming. Believe it or not, when I lived in Washington, I was quite the avid fisher person as far as salmon fishing and crabbing and stuff. And if that's an industry, that's an interesting industry. Fish farming would be cool. And in another time, if things would have worked out, that would have been an industry I would have loved to have been in. But life turned a different way. I ended up going inland. And but yeah, that's actually where the nickname RangerRob came from, is because I used to salmon fish a lot in CQ and Nia Bay and stuff. And on the radio back in the day, they always, some person says, came up with RangerRob. This was years ago. And so I had that nickname kind of stuck with me with all my friends and stuff. So a couple of years ago, I actually bought the domain and then recently bought the trademark. And so that's, if you wanted to know where RangerRob came from, that's it. And so we're just consolidating everything we do now under the brand RangerRob. I should make some RangerRob coffee, huh? So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for my couple of listeners. This is the first stream we've ever done on this channel. And basically I'm testing, like I said, because Sherry and I want to start doing Q&A, talking more about Central Oregon, what kind of homestead we're building. Like I said, we kind of preach buy a homestead that's already on the grid. Of course, this is kind of based on our age, and live a what if scenario. What if your power went out? What if your water wasn't working? What if you can go to the grocery store? What if there's rampage going on in the cities and you just want to avoid it? How are you going to handle the internet? How are you going to deal with fuel? How are you going to deal with all these different things? And so, and if nothing happens at all, so it doesn't hurt anything. But you're being more self-sufficient. Will you save money? No. Will your chickens be cheaper than the store? No. Of course, if inflation hits the way it is now, maybe it will. But you're going to know where your food came from. You know the quality of it. You know the feed you're putting in it. You know they're more organic. Yeah, you're good to go. So, guys, I am going to wrap this up finally. Thank you very much for watching. I think I need to go back into YouTube and change my thumbnail on this thing. I've never done that before. There's been some great feedback here. I really appreciate it. I want everybody to be safe out there. Please give us feedback. Please uh, tell us what you're doing for prepping. Are you thinking about getting out of the city? What are some of your hopes and dreams? What are your concerns? All those kinds of things. So, guys, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.